Podcast 3. Podcast 3, everybody, we've made it. Those thousands of followers that are joining the TDA Talks journey. Welcome to those lovely listeners out there. It's great that you're listening to us again. Hey, Daniel.
Yes, they are.
Do you remember the first 2 episodes?
I do. They were good episodes.
They were great episodes, weren't they?
Fun.
People actually got to learn a bit about us. And as you drive or you're watching this particular podcast right now, you might probably hear or notice that we've grown since the last couple of podcasts that we've done. Remember, this is TDA Talks 3. I'd like to welcome 2 special guests that are joining this journey that we're on, Daniel. Firstly, welcome back, Daniel.
Thanks, Theo. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. I only saw you about 10 minutes ago before we sat here. Anyway, so here we are. I'd like to introduce, firstly, one amazing person that works at TDA, believes in TDA, is helping us grow TDA. I'd like to welcome the lovely Nadia Alui. Welcome, Nadia.
Thanks, Theo. It's going to be a fun one today.
Will.
So, and for all the future ones. but yeah, it'll be a good one today.
No,
so if it wasn't for you, Nadia, we wouldn't be having TDA Talks. We would not be here if it wasn't for you. So having you here on episode 3, being part of it is amazing, and we feel privileged to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege.
Thank you so much. And, you know, Nadia, you'll be facilitating a lot of these types of events, which is great because I run out of questions to ask. You wouldn't believe it, but I actually do run out of questions. Before I hand it over to you to facilitate episode 3, I can't believe I'm saying episode 3. Another announcement is the wonderful Jay Westbury from FCA. Welcome to the TDA Talks 3.
Wow. Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here. Hopefully I'll leave as pumped as you've arrived.
Hey, do you know what? When you start talking business, you start talking tax depreciation, then you talk franchising, I can feel the electricity in the room and the heat. It's a warm day today, isn't it?
It is indeed a warm day, that's for sure.
So seriously, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Nadia, the floor is yours. Question away. Facilitate these amazing TDA talks.
I feel like before we jump into the questions, the listeners have a little bit of an idea now of what Theo and Daniel are, what they do. I'd like to give Jay a little bit of space to introduce himself. And what do you do, Jay?
Well, thanks very much, and thanks for having me. Look, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Franchise Council of Australia. If you say it fast, it sounds funnier than it really is. The Franchise Council is the peak industry body for franchising. And a lot of people think, well, you know, is there a peak industry body for franchising? I'm here to tell everybody listening, there is an association for every body part, every infectious disease, every animal body part, and every business setting, which includes franchising, which is why the Franchise Council does exist. And we're delighted to have TDA as one of our fabulous members. I think you're a testament to the journey of people in franchising. Often what happens with the FCA is that people start out and they don't think to join straight off the bat. And so I congratulate you all for joining us and for being part of the sort of broader industry. Franchising, you know, is probably a bit of a misunderstood sector when it comes to government, and government representation is really key and important, and well-articulated narratives get the message across. So that's what the FCA is all about.
I think it was a natural progression for us to join the FCA because we started our franchise journey in 2025, and that's when we joined the FCA as well. And having met a few of your team at different events, it was evident at that stage that the knowledge that your team impart on franchisors like us and franchisees, it's so valuable. And it was just the one-liners, the conversations, it was, have you considered this aspect? And that's where Theo and I really thought, well, we need to join the FCA. So we want to thank you as well.
No, and look, that's shouldn't be missed when it comes to certainly Lisa and Helen, who I suppose most likely who you would interact with first before you get into the sort of broader team. We're not a very big team. I mean, Helen has a franchise pedigree in that she's been a franchisee. She's worked in a head office for a franchisor, a significant one in the health and wellness and fitness space. So has 30 years of experience with having had skin in the game. So a lot of the challenges that a franchisor and a franchisee for that matter has, certainly in those early days, she's probably lived it. So she has very lived experience. Similarly with Lisa, her and her husband have had a franchise, multi-franchise as well, run their own businesses. And a fun fact about Lisa, she actually is a pastor by former experience, meaning as in a ministerial pastor, not in the political sense, in the biblical sense.
Right.
And her and her husband used to run lots of events through the church.
Okay.
And so she brings so much depth of experience, but also probably almost unconsciously from a franchising point of view.
Perfect. That's thanks for that, Jay. Can you give us a little snapshot of what franchising in Australia today? How big is the industry really? Because I know we spoke a little bit about comparison with the US earlier, but what's it like in Australia?
Well, certainly in Australia, we as a country have completely and utterly consumed ourselves into franchising. We would be one of the top 5 per capita franchised countries in the world. We sadly are the most regulated franchise industries in the world, but then again, that's Australia. We're pretty much, you can't ride a bike without a hat, so why would you be allowed to do franchising without lots of rules? So yeah, we're very regulated, probably overregulated in the trueness of it. There's about 1,200-ish, that number varies a bit, franchise networks in Australia. About 90,000 franchise agreements, so that arguably 90,000 franchisees in Australia, employing about 500,000 people, contributing about $174 billion to the GDP of the Australian economy. So as a clustering industry, it is one that is often underestimated, under-respected, and misunderstood, because all of those sectors that make up the franchise industry in of themselves herald various statistics. Take the hospitality sector. I mean, it herald the sort of hospo, quick service restaurants themselves, the hotel industry, they cluster up into an industry and say we're the hospitality industry. And then there's the health and wellness space. They cluster up and then the hospitality industry. I haven't quite found one for your space just yet, but I'm sure soon enough there'll be one. As I said before,
I've got an
industry.
idea.
There we
I've got
go.
an idea. Professional services. Do we fall in that?
You must.
Yes.
You must. So I think the reason why franchising has really clustered itself up, given those headline numbers, is because we are heavily regulated. There is an industry code that's mandatory, and therefore there needs to be a first line of defence when it comes to some of the craziness that comes out of government. We've just had a pretty horrific code review, and some of the new clauses in there are not welcomed, not needed, and not necessary. And so without having, a well-funded, well-articulated lobby group, the government will have its way. And I think those headline numbers that I talked about, 174 billion top-line GDP contribution, 90,000 small businesses, 1,200 networks, 500,000 employees, they are big numbers.
Why do you think it should be easier for people to get franchises?
It's not so much easier to get franchises. That's not really what the regulation does. It's not so. The barrier to entry in franchising is the franchise itself. It's not so much the regulatory environment that creates the barrier. Because if you think about it, a good franchise is of itself good because the franchise is good, the idea is good, the concept's good. It's franchisable. And not everything's franchisable. And I think that's very evident. None of the regulation helps with that. It's just once you've decided that your thing that you've got that you can franchise is in place, then you are awash, and you'd know yourself with just how legal setting up your business has been, and the agreements and the franchise agreements and the disclosure documents and the entry on the franchise disclosure register, and the list goes on. So it's not the regulation and legislation isn't the barrier. It's the franchise itself that's the barrier.
And that's a really good comment to make. And a little bit about, and those listeners out there, a bit about our journey. We only really started this franchising opportunity 6 months ago. Now, in 6 months, we have got, and proudly, 6 franchisees that are on their TDA journey. The 6 individuals that looked into this opportunity, they were shopping around for other opportunities, but they realized through a TDA brand, through the TDA network that we provide and facilitate and help them, they're really making inroads in their respective territories. So you're right, it's all about making sure you've got something that can really help someone grow. And I love franchising. I really do love franchise. This is a new space. And Dan, we smile all the time about like how good is franchising? You're setting up your vision for what you're delivering and allowing people to take on that same feeling that you've got, but owning their own business. You're giving them a template to create something special for themselves. It's a great space. It is, isn't it?
And those numbers that you mentioned, Jay, in Australia, it's phenomenal. How many employees come under that franchise network? A lot of conversations that Theo and I have with potential franchisees, the professional services aspect of franchising appears to be somewhat unknown or not represented well in Australia. When people think of franchising, when we talk with them, the first thing that comes to their mind is generally fuel, fast food, and we're opening people's eyes to the likes of professional services. Right. What's your view on consumer view of franchising in Australia and what the opportunities are? Do people have a full picture of it?
Well, that's an enormous question, and let me take it in a few parts. I think in terms of professional services, people often forget that pretty much every real estate office in Australia is franchised. Now, that's a professional service. I mean, people would maybe not default to think that way, but realistically it is. So the concept of franchising in your neighbourhood isn't new. And so that's possibly why you're having this success, because the notion of taking the concept of a professional service, that is a delivery by a person to another person via, some other arrangement, it's been around for centuries in real estate, right? And then, of course, in tax deductibility. I mean, the franchise networks that are sitting in that tax space, go and get your tax return done, has been around, again, for decades and decades. And it may have been an unconscious process that you've fallen into, but probably one of the reasons why your model's looking to be as successful as it already is because the notion of going down a professional services franchise is not new. It's just not thought about it like that, right? So I think, celebrating your idea and your concept and then taking it into franchising makes perfectly good sense to me, because you're talking about individuals selling a concept and an idea to another individual, and then you've got the model that stands behind it. So that's a sweet spot, which is no doubt why you're going to be, and I'm sure you're going to be super successful.
Jay, would you like a TDA franchise? I've got a few I could offer you.
Yeah, no, I actually been thinking about recommending my wife take a TDA franchise.
Hey, I know a franchise all.
I'm looking forward to my retirement through her.
Hey, write it down. What's her name? Write it down. Write it down. Contact number, please.
And then in terms of the sort of broader picture around the franchising sort of growth and the people's approach to franchising. And I think that's spelled out very clearly in the franchising expos, which you're a part of and have been a part of, and you say are going to be a part of this year. We've got them coming up throughout the year, of course, in all the capital cities. Is when you look at the calibre of people that walk through those doors, they walk in the door with really no idea of what they want to do. They may have some sense of a skill set. They may be newly migrated, they may not be. They've usually got some money in the bank, which of course is critical. They need to be able to back themselves and make an investment in their business. It's not something you just, pick up with a Post-it note.
They get the support from the other members in the franchise network. They get support from the franchisor with systems, marketing, processes that's in place, that's been tried. And they walk into a business with support and a proven record.
Correct.
And a brand.
And a brand.
You made the comment before, instead of going out there and, promoting their own name, they've got a brand, a network of people to facilitate. One other thing you mentioned about the expos as well, what we found when we attended was when people were walking through the front door, their mind goes straight to, those food outlets or something like that. And one of our franchisees who's on our journey, Simon from TDA in Glen Waverley, he wasn't sure what he was after. When he came across and spoke to you, Dan, and you can comment on what happened with Simon, it was, wow, I get it. I know the product. I can see an opportunity, and the buy-in for an opportunity that's a professional service, it's a lot lower, as you could imagine what a high-end food outlet would be. Yeah, you're talking about retail space you've got to take on, fit-out cost. And I'll talk about fit-out cost later because, again, our role is tax depreciation reports. When they pump in millions of dollars, guess what we do? Yeah. We break down the lights, the door closers, the fryers, whatever we can claim, we will make sure we claim for the client. But it was really interesting to know that an opportunity like us, you have lower buy-ins.
Right.
You don't need the space or the office to begin. You can work from home and build your business and scale it the way that you want to scale it. Right. So it's something that I picked up at the Fred. So, Simon, when you spoke to him, what was he really looking for, Dan?
Yeah, I don't think he was sure what he was looking for, but I think that's a really good point that for anyone who is looking to get into a business or a potential franchise, attend one of the franchise expos, look on the Franchise Council website as well, go and talk to the franchisors directly, because you may find that you are looking to get into a business because you do have that entrepreneurial spirit. But once you actually talk to the franchisors or their representatives at these events, you'll get a better understanding of what opportunities are available. And I think that's critical for people. Going into a franchise or any business, be armed with the knowledge of what is available, and you only get that knowledge by research and talking to people and going to these events. So I think that's a key takeaway for anyone looking to get into a business or a franchise. Research the FCA website, attend the franchising expos, try and talk to the franchisors directly, and arm yourself with that knowledge so you're making a well-founded decision for where you invest your money.
100%.
Well done, Dan. I'm going to write that down. That was actually very good.
They're recording.
Yeah. Did you record it? Oh, how good's podcast? We can always listen back.
That's right.
Follow us. Hashtag, what is it? Hashtag Nadia. TDA Talks. How good?
you go.
How good?
It's good. I want to bring back to a point you mentioned about having an investment. So you need to have money in the bank before thinking about this. How much money in the bank do people really need to have before considering a franchise? Is it double the amount of the buy-in? Is it triple? What's the kind of the ideal money in the bank situation?
Really, really difficult question to answer. Let me go back one step before I answer that. I think a good franchisee candidate is someone that has educated themselves on running a business. So often what happens is there is this sort of loud voice in a person's head between I'm going to get a job or I'm going to buy a franchise. Now, if that is so far from the truth of the facts of the matter, and that is to say that if you're going to get a job, well done, unreal, go and get a job. And whatever skills you need to get that job, they are the skills you need for that job, whatever it is that you might be doing. Whereas if you're going to come and run a business and that it's your own business, and if you haven't ever heard the word cash flow, or you've never heard the word P&L, or you've never read one, or you've never understood the difference between money in the bank versus bills to pay versus making a profit or a loss, then you probably should do a course. And one of the things that we have been advocating for at the FCA to support people wanting to come into franchising is to make more of this mandatory. It's not a barrier to entry, it's almost a necessity. When you look at the complaints that the ACCC gets about franchisors and franchisees disputing with each other, it's usually because a franchisor, because they wanted probably to be nice and grow, they've let someone in that they probably shouldn't have. Either there wasn't enough due diligence done in reverse, that is the franchisor doing the due diligence on the franchisee to say, is she going to be able to run this thing? And is she going to be able to do the business part? She might be able to do the franchise. And if you think about a burger joint, right, she might be a fantastic chef. That doesn't make her a great business person. So the key part to that question really is preparing. The franchisee needs to be prepared and ready and trained to run a business. In terms of ratios, it really depends on the business and what cash is required. And as a general rule, I would suggest if you've not got 6 months worth of cash in the bank when you start, you're probably going to be in trouble. But if you're investing in, say, a $1 million fit out for a gymnasium, and you are up against 3 others that are in your area and you're selling memberships that basically pay per month, not annually, you maybe need 12 months of cash flow in the bank to make sure it's a horses for courses scenario there. It's not really a one shot fits all. And you'd know yourself what your ratios are, right?
And for us, we normally go back and make sure they do their due diligence, go and consult their account. They know their financial situation. You know, we can provide them with some ideas like the disclosure document, which details a range of low to high of running a TDA business. Right. But the decision has to be with them, making sure they have professional people that look into this particular opportunity. So,
and also I think the other point there is a lot of people think about, you know, if they have a home, albeit with a mortgage, and they see that home as their bank, that's fine if that's the decision they make. But that's not necessarily the best way to approach going into business. If you're going to, let's say, you know, bet the farm, that's the saying. I'm not sure you'd be betting. Certainly if my wife takes on a TDA franchise, we will be not backing it with the house. She can back it with her half.
Nadia, write down. And sorry, Jay, what's your wife's name?
Yeah. There we go. What's the mobile number? Yeah. So I think, you know, really,
welcome to the network.
Yeah, it is a matter of getting those settings right in your own mind as you go in as a potential franchisee. And, you know, I think that's where a lot of the good franchisors can give guidance. And it's not financial advice, it's guidance. We know from our experience that X, Y, Z can happen, or we know from our experience that this is likely to be the outcome. So you need to be prepared for that. If you just, as we said before, Theo, if you just decided to go and open your own whatever business, who on earth is talking to you about that? That's another one of the great benefits of franchising, where you've got a good franchisor who's established, has got their act together themselves, and they've got their fixed plans. They know what they're talking about. They know their product, and they can deliver that advice to a potential franchisee.
Jay, I have a question. I have a question to ask you. And we can do this on this, you know, podcasting, TDA Talks, episode 3. But when you see us, TDA, what we're building, what we're trying to deliver, our ambition, and we spoke about our ambitions before we jumped on today's podcast. How do you view us? How do you view TDA? And you've worked with a lot of other franchisors, franchisees. So when you look at us and you see what we're trying to deliver, what's your take on TDA?
Well, let me just say I love all my children equally.
Yes, okay.
Right, so I love all the FCA members. What I would say is that if a franchisee is looking at a franchise and they're not a member of the FCA, I would question why, for sure. Now, that's sort of self-serving, but it matters because of the 1,200 franchise networks that are out there, not all 1,200 are members of FCA, number one. Number two, what sets you apart, you as TDA apart, and really all of you, the whole team, from my perspective, is just how much you are leaning into franchising. It is almost worthy of tracking it in a slow-mo camera so that we can write a book about it later, because that is quite unique. And I don't say that just because I'm sitting on your podcast number 3. I say that genuinely to you because I think a lot of people think, I'll go into franchising, and they don't really go into franchising. They're going into selling a business to someone and take money off them. And that's not getting into franchising. And so taking a long-term approach, believing in your model, believing in franchising as the best fit of model for your expansion, it comes out in spades, not only in your enthusiasm, but just in the way you are approaching things, the way you're openly talking, even being willing to come and do something like this early in your journey. Is a testament to the fact that you are fully transparent, and transparency in franchising is almost number one. So well done to you.
Thank you. That means a lot. No, thank you. It really, really does. And we aren't taking this lightly. This whole franchising side is exactly a way that we can grow the TDA brand opportunity by having our own family, our own children. That's what this opportunity is. We're not putting just a partner on to help promote TDA. They're coming into our fold. We'll protect them. We'll make sure that we're giving them everything they need to go out there to perform and win. So thank you. That means a lot.
No, not at all. Great.
Are there any common mistakes that franchisees make that you've noticed?
Common mistakes that franchisees make?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots. I think and even coming from the direct experience of having been at the franchise expos myself, I've spoken to really hundreds of people at those franchise expos, and you say to them, the husband and wife turns up with 2 young kids, and it's a great anecdote that this is a real life story. So the guy says to me, I'm thinking about possibly going into a bakery franchise. I said, all right, do you like the mornings? No, I'm not really a morning person. You do know that you bake the bread in the morning? Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. So the point, it's a great example. It's a real example. He has not gone into a bakery, you'll be pleased to know. I won't say where he has gone, but he has executed and he has gone into a franchise, not a bakery. He's not a morning person. I think that's comes to sort of the example of not doing enough research about the reality of it. There's another great story I've got. A couple, they were thinking about going into a pack and send franchise, right? And so he was a mechanical engineer, recently migrated to Australia. This was many years ago. So he had no idea, he had nothing. He could fix your plane and make it not crash, but could he run a pack and send? So what they did is, I know, incredible story.
So good.
So if he's watching, he'll know who I won't say his name. If he's watching, he'll think, that's my story to tell. I love it when people give me stories to tell because they're great stories. So he and his wife went and sat outside in the car and watched the pack and send shop down the road for 2 days to see what happened. The comings and goings. Now, probably the owner of that pack and send probably rang the police and said, there's a stalker outside of my shop. Not the case. And he really immersed himself in it. He then went into the shop and introduced himself and said, look, I've been sitting out the front of your shop with my wife. And the guy goes, I know.
I've seen you. Yeah.
What we're thinking, sit down, chit-chat. He did his research. He immersed himself in the concept as much as he possibly could without doing the wrong thing before he made the decision that it was going to be right for him. Now, he's gone on to have 5. He now his 2 children are now in the business, and he's made himself a little mini empire because he came to Australia, he sat out the front of that pack and send, and he watched the comings and goings and really immersed himself so that when he made his decisions, he'd done his due diligence. And I think that's the common mistake. People get caught up in the marketing excitement and the vibe of it all and don't fully explore, am I the right person? Will I fit into that franchise model or that environment? It's like someone who doesn't like to do exercise buys a gymnasium. Why would you do that?
Tell you what, I won't be doing that.
No,
no.
I wasn't going to comment.
No.
Maybe better with a hamburger shop. But it's like someone going into a quick service restaurant who doesn't like the kitchen.
Yeah.
In your case, and I obviously can't speak specifically to it, but from what I can tell, this is a relationship business.
It is.
So if you don't like talking to people, it's probably not for you. It's that simple, I would think. You're nodding, so yeah.
No, that's right. Exactly right. No, good.
Yeah, so I think that's the key is make sure not just the financial due diligence, just not the legal due diligence, but due diligence on whether this franchise is something I'm going to enjoy doing. I'm going to get up every day and go, I'm going to work. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, we know you have that.
Well, yes, that's right. I do. I love what I do. How good's TDA? You make a really good comment, though, because we have knocked back a number of candidates for this opportunity where Dan and I have debated them going, can we see them wearing the shirt with pride, going out there and talking to people. Like you said, it is very much a relationship-based business, and we have knocked back that candidate because it can really disrupt a network.
Right.
We believe in what we're doing and finding the right candidates for it. So, yeah, great comment.
Yeah.
This one's for you, Theo, this question.
Oh, I got a question. Thanks, Daria.
Okay.
How goes TDA Talks?
Yeah.
I haven't read the question.
Of course not.
Are there any tax or depreciation benefits associated with franchise ownership that people might overlook?
Nadia, what a great question. And now I didn't write that, but that is a really, really good question. We've actually been talking to accountants that focus in franchising, and their clients doing these massive fit outs on, the likes of the Guzman and Gomez's right through to a packing facility where there's racking and shelving. Our role as quantity surveyors is to estimate construction costs, place a value on all the plant and equipment item. So if there is a builder that's engaged to go out there and do a full fit out of one of these quick service restaurants, our job is to identify every single item, revalue them at their true cost, allowing owners to accelerate the depreciation. So we work hand in hand with individuals that do own franchisees. Again, that's why I love what I do. I do wake up and I just go, what is today going to bring? I love depreciation. Like I really do, Jay.
Yeah, I can tell you do.
Now I love
You
your
must
kids.
be fun to have over for dinner. Let's
yes.
talk. It'd be like having the funeral director come over, except you're talking about depreciation.
Hey Jay,
That's funny.
I walk into people's place and I'm going, look at the light. It's worth $800. Start getting the shakes on. Like, there's claim everywhere. There's claim everywhere. But
You know
no.
what? He also rubs off on you because now every time I go anywhere, I'm like, oh, you know, you can claim to
Yes, it works. It works. And our franchisees are doing it as well. Can I just also throw something out there as
go
well?
for it.
Something that, again, I'm just jumping into TDA and let me know if it's wrong or right or what your thoughts are too. But one thing we've always wanted to do is our franchisee are a part of us. They are our family. They are connecting in their respective local areas, discussing the benefits of depreciation reports and other services that we will be rolling out to the whole network. What I love about it is holding conventions,
Right.
kickstart events. So Dan and I were lucky enough to hold our very first TDA convention last year. Now, we might have only had 6 franchisees, but it's a milestone for us.
Right.
It's about giving back to them, getting everyone together who wears it, believes in it. We had awards that we handed out on the day. Like we had guest speakers come in. And the key takeaways that I got out of it was people loved it. And Nadia, you did those post feedback forms about asking those questions. That question to you, how did they find that event? And then after that, Jay, tell me what your thoughts are on conventions and kickstart events, because we've got a kickstart event happening soon as well. Go on, Nadia.
I think by the time this airs, it'll have happened already.
Oh, how good. We'll get you back, Jay.
Yeah.
But I think the general consensus was that they loved it because it was almost a bonding experience between the franchisees. So it really reiterated that this is not a competition between you guys. This is a family. We're working together. And they loved it. They all kind of got really into it. We did some golf. We went for dinner. And it was also a huge learning experience. So we had Rick Rushton come in as well. So he gave a little bit of a talk to everyone, and everyone shared their tips on what was working for them and what wasn't working for them. And I think that's what they enjoyed the most out of it, really.
I think one of the other key takeaways that I took from that first convention was it built trust amongst the franchisees, amongst themselves, and also trust between the franchisees and us as the franchisor as well, because we got to spend time together. It was dedicated time. It was 2 days, no distractions. It was them and us, sharing learning, sharing challenges, sharing the wins, and it built that camaraderie amongst each other so that they felt like they have a broader support network now. They do call each other now, which is fantastic. They communicate together. We have a Teams chat going with all our franchisees and us as the franchisor where we put photos of quick wins on there. So I think that's fantastic. And that was our first one, and that was Theo's idea to hold that convention on. I was a bit unsure. I said, but Theo, we're only new to this. We've only got 6 franchisees, but I think learnings are, and this is for other franchisors out there, irrespective of how many you have, even if it's just your first franchisee, hold the event, start the tradition, get the framework, build the vision for what you want for your franchise network, because we have a very clear vision for what we want. And I'm glad Theo felt strongly about that, because we did that.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jay?
Well, conferencing is, it's sort of 101 of franchising. I would suggest to you that of the 1,200 networks that are in Australia, almost all would be doing some form of peer-to-peer networking in the form of a conference. In fact, my background, I'm a hotelier by training, and I used to run an events management company, and I think probably 20 of our key clients were franchise networks of all various shapes and sizes. So some of them, and I've attended few in my former life, I've attended quite a lot of conferencing, I've got to say, probably conferenced out. And it is that moment when you're bringing people together, they're talking to each other, they're getting learning outcomes from it. Then, of course, the recognition piece, critical. Recognition is so critical in any of these environments where you're all living, eating and breathing, because you're not competing with each other. And no one's born with all the good ideas. And so being able to talk through with someone over a lunch break, over a coffee or over dinner, whatever it might be, this came up, what did you do? Oh, we did this. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's great. The value that the franchisee gets out of attending these things is not just the content from the stage. It's the peer-to-peer interaction as well. So conferencing is a big part. In fact, there's lots and lots of companies out there that are pitching for the conferences. Obviously, some of them huge. The bigger the franchise network, the bigger the conference, and you'll get there as you grow. But I think having that pedigree now and a mindset for that now, this early on in your journey, is super, super superb, because you will find you'll grow and you'll grow off the back of that as something that you must do each year, and good luck to you.
Bring on the exhibition centre. We're
Bring it
going
on.
big, baby. I can't wait to hand out more awards to everyone. Yeah, I love handing out an award.
Why not?
Do you know, just a quick one on the awards, that we actually did hand out awards, 6 amazing awards to our franchising network on our first convention day. And just to let you know, each award was new office awards. So everyone, there was a new office award, so everyone got a new office. So it was an exciting milestone for us. So if you want to check it out, go to our LinkedIn page and socials, all our socials. You'll just see hashtag TDA, and then
I look forward to being at the conference when you're handing out your 10 years service awards.
that'll be good.
That will be good.
It's going to be a good old
It'll
session.
be huge. It'll be the whole resort is booked.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
there you
love
go.
it.
There you go.
Careful. I'm actually getting the sweats.
We have a budget.
He's already booking the conference in 10 years. So, yeah,
Vietnam,
that's great.
wherever we're going. Vegas, and we'll talk about Vegas
Vegas.
shortly
Yeah.
too.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
But we're 40 minutes in, so I don't want to extend this more than it is. It's been an amazing conversation.
How long does this go for? An hour or?
No, it was 30 minutes.
Oh,
but
no way! I didn't realize. I looked at the clock before. We're still
Talking.
going. How good?
Did you want to keep going?
No, I don't like podcasts.
We've got one more segment, but before we jump into the final segment, just to wrap up, we looked at common mistakes that people make. So their lack of due diligence.
Yeah.
That word did not come out right. With their financials, with whether they even like to do it, right? We looked at how big franchising is in Australia, looked at what TDA is doing in that franchising space, and it's been a good yarn.
It's good. Yeah.
It's been really good.
Well done.
Before you go, Jay, NFC, talk to us about that. IFA, tell me what's going on in the FCA space, please.
Okay, so I'll do it to a rap song. So the FCA is involved in the IFA. The IFA is in VAS, which is Vegas. We've got the FIAs in June, 17 June in Brisbane, which is the industry celebration. And then we've got the NFC down in CBR, CBR being the 3-digit IATA code for Canberra. So I should really sort of melody that up for you and get a bit of a deck going.
I'll
But,
get them to add some rap music too.
yeah, that's some rap movies. But basically, to put that into longhand real quick, the International Franchise Association National Convention is on in Vegas in the third week of February. Usually 5,000 to 6,000 people attend that. It's the American Franchise Association. Effectively, all the numbers I've talked about franchising in Australia add a zero, and that's effectively the size of the American market. Then we've got the FIAs, the Franchise Industry Awards, coming up on the 17th of June. You do have to have been in business for 2 years to be eligible.
I know.
So I'll have to wait for another year before I can see Theo up there accepting his magnificent surprise and award. And then we have the National Franchise Convention, which is our version of the IFA convention in October, which is in Canberra. We expect 400 to 500 attending that. So they're the main things that FCA gets involved in, not to mention all the other sort of little things we do around the traps, including, of course, the Christmas event. It's hard to imagine we're already talking about that now, given it's only January or February or whenever this is going to come out. But we do a big round of Christmas events, which is obviously where I saw you last.
And that's right. I know we've run out of time, but one thing I do have to say about your Christmas events, I met a lovely gentleman there, and he's just not in my mind right now, his name, sorry. But when I met him, he made a really good comment. He said, Theo, what are you doing? I said, because, it's all about cash flow. Even for us, we're still a business. We're an established business that still needs to win tax depreciation for us to survive.
Right.
But at the same time, we're rolling a franchising network. This gentleman says to me, what is it that you want long term? I said to him, well, we want to be ultimately the franchisor and supporting our entire network. He goes, focus on that. Focus on franchising. Get recruiters. Get a franchising support network for your franchisees. Because if that's what you want to do, push yourself down that path. Don't be tossing between one or the other. Focus on what the ambition is to go for. So, and that was from an FCA Christmas party. I'll tell you what.
Well, the FCA Christmas parties are a fountain of knowledge.
They are a fountain.
And what's amazing about franchising, I'll say this, and maybe a good thing to finish on, is what you'll find in franchising is that there is no shortage of opinion. There's no shortage of sharing that opinion, but there's some absolute chestnuts in amongst all those individuals that have been in it for a long time. So lean in and embrace it.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you, brother.
Now, Nadia, do we want to finish on a confessional?
We do. So, as you all know, if you listen to episode 1 and 2, we end all the episodes with a confessional. So we had Theo in episode 1, Daniel in episode 2, and Jay, it's your lucky day with episode 3. This one's all yours.
This is my confessional. Well, I'd like to confess that, in fact, I have always been, and people don't know this, a spy. And for the last 20 years, I have secretly worked undercover right around the world, and I am known in a lot of cities by a different name. And you wonder and think, is he telling the truth? Well, of course, you'll never know because I'm a spy.
Thank you, Jay Westbury.
You're welcome.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Very good.